Hi guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to do that assignment where it's talking about US imperialism and how to look at the justification, what that means, who was for it, who was against it, and we're going to analyze that document together. All right guys, so we are looking at our assignment, and so as you can see it says justifying US imperialism, and what that means is we're looking at why people in the United States thought that it was justifiable or worthy of taking over and taking control over another country and group of people. And so we're going to look at a political cartoon that, well, we'll be looking at two. And we are going to look at how this political cartoon either justifies or is against imperialism. And remember, a political cartoon is something that is either making fun of or have hidden messages basically throughout. So when we look at, for example, this person right here, this is a character known as Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam is a representation of the United States. So it's supposed to mean the United States. If the United States was a physical person, they usually use Uncle Sam as the character. So let's look at these words and go over this together. So symbolism is using objects or symbols to stand for ideas or concepts. So we already talked about that with Uncle Sam. So he is a symbol for the United States. Labeling, labels are used to make clear what objects stand for and actual words written on an object. A caricature is exaggerating or change a character's features. So this is like a caricature. Like if you go to the fair, you get one of those drawings made of you, sometimes they'll put you with a bigger forehead to emphasize it. So it's just making bigger versions or exaggerating features about somebody. Exaggeration, there you go. Exaggeration, distorting an object in shape or appearance. So making it bigger or smaller. You can make a story, you can exaggerate a story, say he was going 1,000,000 miles per hour. Well, that you cannot do, right? I always get, when I get in an argument with my husband and he always says you never say you're sorry. And I'm like, well, that's an exaggeration. I always say I'm sorry. And he's like, well, that's an exaggeration, because sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Analogy. Comparison between two unlike things. So one complex, the other more familiar. So when you have an analogy, it's what's a good example of an analogy? We'll come back to that. We'll give you a good analogy. Irony, difference between the way things are and the way they should be. So when something's ironic, it's you shouldn't have, rain on your wedding day. Thank you to a certain singer for that one. Isn't it ironic? Your parents would know. Okay, stereotyping, generalizing about an entire group by a single characteristic that may be insulting or untrue. So a stereotype is, and I think you guys are pretty familiar with this, where when people, not we, but when people, make general statements about a group of people that they don't have any actual evidence of, but they've either heard it or it's just a common misconception about a group of people, and they will, it would be a stereotype if I said all students in high school lie. Okay, that's a stereotype, or that's some kind of characteristic that could be insulting or untrue. And say that if all high school students lie, then you as a person lie because you're a high school student. That is stereotyping and can be very, very harmful. So let's go ahead and I'm going to, you're going to answer these questions. So what labeling do you see in the cartoon? So what labels are used to make clear what objects stand for? So like we'll use this banner on these children right now, and we'll see that this says Cuba, this says Puerto Rico, this says Hawaii, and this says the Philippines. So those are labels. Let's see if we can see a couple of other labels here. If we zoomed in, I wonder if we could see it. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna see if I can see it a little bit bigger. See if we can see Alaska, Texas, California, Arizona, and New Mexico. So those are some labels that I see. We have the content of the something is a good thing in something, but when rare in fact. England was governed colonies, whether they consented or not. Okay, so this is like a lesson from a teacher. Here is United States in self-government. So United States something in self-government. So this is, again, they are labeling these pictures as such. Okay, so we have that labeling. For number 2, what symbols are used and what do they represent? So we see using objects or symbols. So like we see here, here's Uncle Sam, here's some children, here's some more children. What do these represent? So go ahead and we see a Native American representation. This is a Chinese child. Right, so go ahead and those looking at these symbols of what do we see? What symbols are used and what do they represent? Okay, and what outside knowledge and facts do you know about this subject? So give me some information that you could remember from previous conversations and or from your other history class or from anything that I've talked about. What do you guys know about this, and what do you think this is saying to us? Okay, as the reader, what do you think this is saying? Oh, there's the last question. What justification for American imperialism is the artist giving in the cartoon? So what is it saying about the United States taking over other countries and other places? What do you think it's saying? All right. Go ahead and pause my video for right now and go ahead and answer those questions and then come back to this next political cartoon to do that with me as well. Okay, now we're looking at The White Man's Burden. It's a cartoon in the Judge magazine in 1899. This one was School Begins by, it was in Puck magazine. So these types of magazines are poking fun at politics or talking about hot topics that, excuse me, that were important at the time. And so you will see these, like, especially in Puck, it's very what's called satirical, which is poking at real things and making fun of it and exaggerating the stories. So here we have The White Man's Burden. So let's go ahead and again look at that, answering those questions. What labeling do you see? So I'm going to zoom in. So I don't even think I need to zoom in. I can look at this one. This one's a little bit easier to see. All right, so there's some labels. So this is saying Cuba. These are, I believe, Native Americans, or they're symbolizing. It's not necessarily labeling. So there's some label here, Cuba. Then we have civilization up here at the top. I want to say that is Africa. And India is right here on this man's turban. And so we have on these rocks, we have oppression, barbarism, like being a barbarian. So a barbarian is kind of like a Neanderthal. Ignorance, which is not being smart. Vice, which means having like a vice would be like drinking alcohol. Superstition. So instead of being like basing it on like either like God, it would be more of like pagan things like witchcraft and that sort of stuff. Brutality. So brutality, to be brutal is to be like very, very aggressive and violent. Let's see what we got here. That again, it says ignorance. This says cannibalism. So there is like cannibalism is to eat oneself. So in this sense, it's saying like they would eat human flesh. We have slavery. We have, again, brutality. And this is Victor. Oh, this is the I'm guessing this is the author of this. All right, so, or the painter, the drawer, I don't know. Artist. This is the artist. So that is, again, civilization, and it says the United States. So now we have those labels. So go ahead and, if you want, pause and put those labels here. Next, we have what symbols are used and what do they represent. So let's see. We have Uncle Sam again. And I want to say that this gentleman is like, I want to say conquerors from the United States. I'm not sure because I'm trying to think, because it might be an England representation because it has China and India, and that was Great Britain more so, and Africa was more so of a British conquered area, or an imperial area. So that, I believe, is Great Britain, a symbol for Great Britain. And then we have these baskets, and then we have these are tools. This is supposed to be a hammer, and that is something to point out. Also, this symbol on Uncle Sam is the Red Cross. So looking at that as a symbol for the Red Cross. So go ahead and fill that out as well for what symbols. Then what outside knowledge and facts do you know about this subject? So this is going to be on you. What have we talked about? What did I just talk about? What did we talk about yesterday to answer that question? And what justification for American imperialism is the artist giving in the cartoon? So what are they saying is the reason why the United States should take control and help, or to take control of these countries? So what are their justifications? I lied, we have 3. So go ahead and pause and go ahead and pause and fill this out, and then go to the next one. Okay, this one is, and after all, the Philippines are only the stepping stone to China. It is, again, in the Judge magazine in 1898. Notice how this one was a year later. And so let's go ahead and see what this is saying. So we have the same question. What labeling do you see in the cartoon? So let's see some labels. We have Philippines. We have steel rails, bridges, education, religion, machine. Sorry, you're going to see my head really fast. Let's zoom in. Let's see. If I can read you. Quite a bit. Still can't read that. Medicine. That one says medicine. Skills. I want to say maybe, and I don't know what that one is saying. Let's see what these signs are saying. Wanted wagons, carriages, trucks. Wanted watches, clocks. Wanted trolley lines, electric light. Wanted 50 million sewing machines, 50 million reaping machines. A reaper is in agriculture to harvest the grain or stocks in the farm on the farm. 100 million plows, and again, plows are for farming. Wanted 100,000 bridges, 500,000 engines, 2 million cars, 4 million rails, 100,000 railroad stations. And this is farming up here, and this is supposed to be a trail. Wanted waterworks, sewer paving, asphalt roads. Wanted cotton goods machines, telegraphs, telephones, electricity. All right. More wanted stoves, lamps, petroleum, medicines, chemicals, disinfectants. Okay, so these are, again, those labels. Go ahead and pause right now and fill that part of your assignment out. Next, you're going to have the symbols. So what are symbols that are used? So again, we have railroad, we have a rail, what am I trying to say? A train. We have Uncle Sam, again, representing the United States. We have, look at this flag that is on the Philippines. I'm assuming this is supposed to represent the United States, and them stepping on it and then heading over to this symbol, which is China. So this is supposed to represent China with the Great Wall and their colors and whatnot. And then, so go ahead and pause me and fill that out for me. Next, what outside knowledge and facts do you know about the subject? So go ahead. This is your background knowledge. Go ahead and answer this as best as you can. And what justification for American imperialism is the artist giving in this cartoon? So what are they saying is the reason why they are wanting to expand into China? Go ahead and pause and fill out that for me too. Okay, guys, that's all I have for you. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email and I will get to you as soon as possible. We do not have a Zoom on Thursday, so just keep that in mind. There will be some assignments, so just keep that as what you're supposed to do in mind. You are still responsible for some work, even though you are not going to see me in Zoom. All right. Bye.